Hello and welcome to BusyWorksBeats.com. Today we're going to make a Yeet beat in FL Studio. You guys will get the project files for free. Just go to BusyWorksBeats.com/FL Studio. So firstly, let's get the tempo down. Then we'll pick a scale or a key. We want to slow down the tempo to about like 132, 135. Just slower than 140. 140 tends to be a little fast to start with. Let's go to 130. Nextly, we need to find out what key we're going to use. Let's open up the channel rack here, right click. I'll try to use as many stock plugins as possible unless I need to use a third-party plugin. Let's use the plugin either Sawyer, which is really dope for bass. Where is it at? Sawyer. Okay, this is a really good one. They redid the interface here too. And let's click on this icon to open up the effects. Let's go to the preset area and let's go to, where is it at? Leads. And we're going to play a really low octave, and that's going to create the sound. So firstly, we're going to right click over here, our typing keyboard to piano, and let's go down to like octave 2 or 3. That way I can mess around with my keyboard and come up with bass lines. One thing I will do is click on the image line tab, turn off delay, and let's crank up the channel volume. Okay, so let's record the bass line first. Now, normally I leave the bass line for last. But because this is so bass focused, let's record this in. Again, I'm using my typing keyboard to piano. Just click this icon right here next to the play area. One of those notes I hit incorrectly. Let's click inside of the channel rack here to open up the piano roll. Firstly, let's hit Alt-Q, quantize the notes, and let's fix the one note. Just hit Control to highlight this note, left click, and you could either hit Shift up or just manually drag the notes up. So here we're playing Tresillo. I'm not going to bore you guys to tears about everything about music production right now, but basically this is called the Tresillo pattern. So it's Tresillo, Tresillo, it repeats. We're just playing it really slow. So it's Tresillo, Tresillo, Tresillo. That's what creates that bounce. And then here to here we have what's called, we're moving from the tonic note down to what's called the perfect fifth, which is 5 notes down, 7 notes upward. You see here we started 7 notes up from D, and then we're going from D to A, the opposite direction. So it's 5 notes down, 7 notes upward, creates that type of sound. Now we have like the starting point. Let's go back to our playlist and let's drag pattern 1 in if it's not already there. Let's go to song mode and let's build around this. Now we need to ask which scale is most likely this to be. You know, there's tools out there. Like I said, I'm trying to not get too deep with music theory here and all the tools I use. Let's go to the stamp tool. Let's go to where it says minor natural. And let's start at the note that we play a lot, which is the note D. Okay. Now let's hit Alt-G to ungroup these notes. And then we're just going to ask, are the notes that we played in this scale to the right? And the answer is yes. We have D, we have E, F, we have A. Okay. Now, most of the time, whatever note you constantly return to is usually going to be the root note of the scale. And also we could tell by what's called the third. So in this case, we're making a minor third. So this gives us the identity for the scale most of the time. If this were, one note up, this would be D major. You don't need to memorize that, but that's how, I'm thinking about which scale. It's which note are we constantly returning to? The note is D. We're landing on the note D a lot. So that lets me know that this is probably the root note for the scale. And then I have to ask myself, is it major or minor? So I just put the minor scale up and it shows the same notes in D minor. So let's just assume that we're in the D natural minor scale. What can you do with the scale? You can create chords and different things. I'm going to show you guys a more advanced way to go about writing chords, which is from Jazz Theory. Let's open up another plugin here. Let's go to the channel rack. Let's go to a different pattern as well. And let's go to the playlist. Let's add a blank pattern to the playlist. Let's drag it out for like 4 bars. So now when we build a sound, we could hear it in context. Very important. Let's double click, let's open up another plugin here. And Morphine's really good for bass sounds. It's good for keyboard sounds. It's good for, I don't really mess with their leads. I'm sure it's good. But here we're going to go to, where is it at? CP, I always mix these up. Crystal EP. Okay, this is really good here. Let's right click. Let's choose the higher octaves here, C4. Okay, let's hit Control L, send that to the mixer. Control L on the first sound too if you haven't. On pattern 2, let's double click. Let's right click, go to the piano roll, and now let's start building out the yeet chords. Remember, we are in the key of D natural minor. So let's just start here at D. Chances are we're going to start here. Let's hit Alt to restore any velocity. If you don't see this, grab your ellipses at the bottom, pull this up, go to Control, switch it to note velocity. Now I'm going to show you guys the shortcut. This is from Jazz Theory. We're going to copy this root note. Hold on, let me make this note longer here. So we're going to copy the root note, hitting Control, highlight it, hit Shift, left click to duplicate. Now we're going to hit Shift up 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is called quartal harmony in jazz. We're going to take this perfect fourth, it's called, hit Shift again, and then hit Control down to pull it down an octave. And let's hit Control up because we're just in a low octave. Let's do it one more time. Now remember, we didn't start on the note D, so I'm going to start with the top note, okay? So the top note was A. And then we went to F. So all I'm doing is hitting Shift, hitting Control to highlight, hit Shift, left click, drag. We don't need this octave down here. And now we could swap out the sound. So I'm using that sound as a starting point. We could also try Toxic Biohazard, has some really dope sounds. Poison is really good for this type of sound. You guys can experiment with the exact preset. I'm just gonna kind of skim through presets. Ones that I've noticed, the ones with a filter resonance and ones with a moving filter tend to grab the ear a little bit more. Let's turn up this chorus here. Also, it has a trance gate, which is super dope. Let's turn this on though. And we could add a little rhythm to these chords so it's not just bland. So now it has a little movement to it. That's why I like Poison. It kind of hits all the target things that we need to transform a sound pretty quickly without adding more sounds. So now I'm just going to tweak the sound a little bit. I'm going to mess with the filter envelope. Okay, so now we have a little more movement. I might take off delay, I'm not sure yet. So Poison is, I'm just so hyped that we're coming back to FL stock sounds. We're gonna stop adding sounds here because we could easily overkill. There are 4 layers to a beat. You have the harmony section, you have the rhythm section. Actually, let me go in order. Really in order, we have what's called the top line. This is the memorable melody. We have the harmony section. We have the contrast. And then we have the rhythm area. Now, the synth that we set up on the harmony section is also our rhythm. So we don't want to overly add rhythm because we already have rhythm combined with harmony in that case. Let's also try pulling our bass down 1 octave, Control down. That's actually too low. I'm also going to show you guys how to get more. Let's just try something on the bass here. We're going to go to Mixer Channel 6. This is a free plugin. It's not stock. It's called Kilohertz Bit Crush. It comes in the Kilohertz Essentials bundle. You guys can find it on their website, but it's free. I think you can possibly do this. Let me try with FL first before I start third-party plugins. Turn down feedback level, turn down delay time, turn dry level down. Everything else becomes an effect here. What we want to do is lower the bit rate. I'm reading the values in the top left here. So now I'm pulling this to 8 bits. Let's mute the bass or the synth for now. Now bit rate just basically adds noise the further you pull it down. Now, if you want that ring sound, we need to lower what's called the sample rate. This is another way to add like texture. So now it sounds more bitey. Okay, so that's another way to kind of add that texture there. Now we can get more advanced and make it more of a chorusy sound for more advanced people. You would pull up your dry level and mess with the time modulation there. That's for more advanced folks. You guys will get the project files if you're beginners. Don't try to like memorize everything because it's more of like a specific sound there. So now we have a ring on top of that bass. It's not just like a typical bass. We can still filter out the bass. I'm trying not to bore you guys about all the details. We can pull down the cutoff filter to get rid of some of the ringing. If it's a little too aggressive, we can pull the filter down. Another thing we could do with the chords is create an arpeggio. Let's go to pattern 2. Let's just see what this sounds like. Let's turn on the arpeggio. Let's go up and let's do a range of 2 octaves. Poison is like super slept on. I'm just glad that the sound is coming back. And we're probably going to change some of the accent notes in the step sequencer. That's what's making it go like it's these 2 notes here. So if we just give it, that's a pretty dope bounce. So now we need a lead, a top line sound. Usually this is where an artist would be, and here's where most people overkill the beat because they forget that an artist has to be a part of this equation too. Unless the artist is gonna like perfectly copy the top line, you guys just want to be careful not to fill in this area of the beat without arranging it to where it's like absent at some points. There's no rules to it. Let's use Saw-er. I'm trying to think which one has better lead sounds. GMS is also good, but let's try Saw-er. Let's try their leads here. These are more like Moog type sounds, even though it's not a Moog. But their leads are more like West Coast. Let's just see if any of these. This one's kind of cool. It's a little too thin though, as far as the airy tone. I kind of like the sound. That's kind of dope. Now that's a fifth that's not one tone, that's 2 tones. It may fit, it may not, but that is a harmony as well as a top line. Could work. That might be used as a counter melody at some point. We'll see if that fits. I'll consider that a contrast layer in this case, not a top line, only because it's playing chord information and it's not like the dominant sound. It's more of a reactive sound. Let's see what else we can find here as far as a dominant sound. If I can't think of anything, let's just move to drums because we don't want to overly think because that will easily mess up you guys' ideas. Let's move to pattern 4. We're using the XTC Yeet Essential Sound Kit. You guys can find it on Reddit, I believe. Shout out to XTC. We connected on Instagram. Let's turn off loop points. Let's just add this clap. Let's hit Control L. Let's turn the metronome on. We're gonna put the snare or the clap on the 3 and the 7 count of the metronome. Let's go to pattern mode. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We can switch it up, but then we're getting into more of like a Playboy Cardi type sound. So we can change it up. Let's pull this into the rhythm area because now we're adding drums, which are rhythm. Let's go to song mode. There's one bass I forgot to add in here, and it just dawned on me just now. There's a bass from Somebody sent it to me and I forget exactly who, but thank you to our Discord community. They sent me the bass, so you guys will get this in the project files. It's called Split Bass. We need to figure out where to add this in, because we need to create what's called a cut group, so that when this sound plays, when this sound plays, it cuts off the other bass. Let's figure out where it even fits in. So I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So 3 C O 3 C O. Okay, let's add it there. Now we might not need to actually cut it off. We just need to make sure that note doesn't play at that point. See if it fits. And we need to be like, to shift up twice. One thing we need to do with the sample is go to the envelope here, the volume envelope, turn it on, turn hold up, turn everything else down. What this does is, now when I let go of the key, it truncates the note so it won't like go over into the next bar. Now the bounce could be better. Let's figure out, you know, in context, let's add this. Yeah, it's a little delayed. I'll probably add it a little early. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So I just pulled it a little bit ahead. Yeah, that other sound kind of just surprised me out of nowhere. Let's not use that other fifth. Anyhow, let's start adding these hi-hats. I usually separate hi-hats from claps. In this case, we'll combine them. Let's right click. Pretty simple. Let's hit Control L. Right click, fill each 2 steps. I feel like the hi-hats need to move faster because of that arpeggio. I kind of like that fast hi-hat. Now in the new FL24, we can go to the graph editor in the top right, go to repeat, and we can create hi-hat rolls on the fly. Now I usually put it on my 3rd hi-hat. So it's a nice bounce, but if we need more speed, we'll add more notes. Let's take away some of the effects from the arpeggio. That way we're not taking emphasis away from the bass. I'm going to alter the bass a little bit here, just so it has a little more bite to it. Just widening out the panning here. There we go. Now we have a nice full bass. So now we need a bass that fits with that bass, but also has like energy on it. So this is probably the most used bass. I try not to just do run-in-the-mill stuff. So you guys can try like the Chase the Money 808, different 808s here. But I don't think we need the Chase the Money 808. I think we just need a decent 808. Okay, so you don't need to slam the 808 for this type of track. Because we already have. So now we got to figure out how to like fit in the 808 with the other bass, and that's the biggest conflict. We have meow meow meow, and then we also have the doom doom bass. Okay, one more thing we need to add. I don't know if we have it here. We need a tubular bell. Do we have one in here? Darn, I don't even know where to find a tubular bell. Let's see if we even have a sample. Tubular bell, let's see. Okay, I don't know where I got this from, but oh wait, it's in my Reddit kit. I don't know what, okay, it doesn't say where though. Let's figure out which one sounds. Like this one. We can tune it, but I'd rather it just sound good the way it is instead of tuning it down or up. Okay, so now we have the tubular bell. Let's double click, hit Control L to send it to the mixer, so that way it's in the mixer. Let's hit Control B to latch face. So we still need a little more transient energy, a little more like pointiness in the beat. Okay, I'm just gonna record the timing of the 808 with my typing keyboard to piano. We're not worried about the notes, just the timing. Just want to record this. Brand new. It might be a little too many 808s. Let me go back. So I'm rapping as I'm doing it so that I know not to overly feel the kicks. Brand new. Okay, so now I have the timing of the 808. Double click, hit Alt Q. We're gonna hit Control up so we can actually hear the tuning of the 808. And this we can hit Shift up or down to tune the 808. So here again, you just got to use your ear. Hit Control down. Now the hard part is figuring out how to turn off the bass. Let's see if we could even. So this is where choke groups come into play, where you can have, I think people are using one shots too with their res bass. So I'm trying to teach you guys what other people might do, but at the same time, teach you how to do a more advanced scenario in the case that you don't do it the way other people do it. Most people have this res bass. They'll have that as a one shot. Okay, so it's a little bit easier with one shots because you can click on the 808, go to the wrench tool, and set a cut group. Okay, so under the cut group, this number has to be the same as the other bass. So let's right click, hit C to copy. I don't think synths have a cut group. Maybe they do. I never tried it before. Let's try it. Okay, so it says it has a cut group. Let's see if this works though. So now when the 808 plays, if it plays after the bass, it will mute the bass and vice versa. The thing is they play at the same time most of the time. Let's pull this up to the note D. I think it sounds better. Let's also go to our split bass, go to the wrench tool, right click and paste that same group. So they're all in group 7. And this way, only one bass sound can play at the same time unless they're played at the same exact time. That's what cut groups are for. I don't think this bass is heavy enough, so let's crank it up. I feel like these sound good with that bass. Even though we're stacking bass, it doesn't feel like it's clipping. So I do like, I think maybe because it wasn't tuned before. Let's try to tune these. I don't think we need to tune them, but let's try. Okay, I think we need another wow sound. Here's where it might be beneficial to actually move these to the same channel temporarily. Let's hit Control X. Let's go back to the bass pattern, hit Control V. Now I have all my bass on one channel rack. We can see the overlapping notes and see the timing. If you don't, go to the top left, go to View, and go to Ghost Channels. If you're in older versions of FL, I think it's called like Helpers or something, and then go to where it says Ghost Channels. Turn that on. So now the grayed out note in the background is the other bass. And in the new FL 24.2, you can go in the top right, click here, and turn specific sounds off or on. And I think if you go to the View and turn on editable ghost notes, you could actually move the notes that are grayed out to different notes. So I'm going to turn that on. Actually, I don't think we need that right now. Never mind. I don't think that matters right now. Okay, let's turn that off. But that's another option for you. Okay, so let's... All right, I don't know what happened there. Let's figure out what happened. Okay, so somehow this got offset, so let's pull it back. Okay, so see, this is why it doesn't really matter, because the other octave is 2 octaves lower, and I didn't even realize that until just now. But at least we can see the timing of the notes. So now I'm looking like where are the notes playing at the same time and where do we have gaps. Let's just copy this over, hit shift, left click, drag it over. Okay, some of these guys. I'm probably going to change some of the 808 pattern up once we get. Let's go back to Poison and add some delay. Let's make it more of a rhythmic timing. In the top left, I'm reading that value. I want to set this to 2/4, not 3/4. So I'm switching the octave to 3 octaves on the arpeggio. That way we get a little more range. Also too, let's go to the wrench tool and delay the time shift a little bit. If you're in older FLs, it's called time offset in the bottom left. This will delay the groove of the arpeggio just a little bit. Okay, so I might change up the bass. I'm just gonna kind of use my brain to tell me different things. I'm gonna turn off. I might not like the the entire way through. Alright, let's do that bounce first, and now let's go back to the other bass. And let's use more half steps. Also, this is such a geeky thing, but we need to set what's called a decay curvature over the filter. So it's more like ow, like a longer falling sound. Another thing about yeet, we don't always need to do tresillo. We can delay that second half. So now it's more of like a delayed tresillo, so it's like tresillo. So it's a little bit different. Let's do that bounce. So notice how this is an evolving thing where it's no like do this every single time and it works. It depends on the context. Now we just need to make sure these bass sounds line up. The key though is to have the bass play at the same exact time. So here it's a little hard to hear because I'm playing like, so it goes like, let's also revisit this trance gate. Let's see if we can add a little more. Let's also try downward. So I put it on random, which actually sounds ironically cool. I just want to see what the arpeggio sounds like through halftime. I'm curious to hear what it sounds like. Let's find it in the mixer. We're on channel 7. Let's open up gross beat. This is not a step. This is more so an experiment. I want to see what it sounds like slow down. Let's go to momentary, half speed. It's an interesting sound, that's for sure. I think we need more hi-hat activity, so let's add more information in the hi-hats. Let's go to pattern 4, right click, go to piano roll. Let's add some more glitches. Let's do one that's kind of famous here. We're gonna highlight this one. We're gonna hit Control L to make it a defined length. Hit Alt plus U to chop it up. We're gonna go to the controls. Again, if you don't see these controls, grab the ellipses in the piano roll, pull this up, go to control. Let's go to note fine pitch and let's right click and drag this down. So now it's gonna go down. So now we can add these little teardrop fall areas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, bird, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, bird. Now we have 2 hi-hats. So I wanted to go ta-ta-ta at the end. Let's change our snap to grid to 1/4 beat. So we got to make sure those rhythms don't clash with arpeggio. A little difficult, but because I added the gross beat to the arpeggio, I now have a contrast layer to the top line. So I'm doing the same thing with the hi-hats, adding a lower frequency hi-hat, playing a different rhythm, but a little bit slower. Now at this point, you just kind of spaz out in whatever sound you want. It could be a top line sound, which is what we're missing here. It could be a sound effect. It could be my synths over here. Actually, I might use my synths, but I said I was going to try to use FL Stock plugins. I just don't want to waste time going through presets I know I'm not going to vibe with. But let's start off going to the channel rack. Let's add, let's see what we can even add in here. GMS makes some pretty cool sounds, like lead sounds. I would guess Toxic Biohazard might be the best option. Let's try that out, and if it doesn't work, I'll just use my keyboard. Alright, so let's go here, and we might do pads, we might do leads. Let's just click on whatever inspires us. So again, there's no right or wrong sound. It's just going to be the top line to our beat, which is usually the highest frequency material in the song. Alright, I like that actually. Let's record that. That's actually, we got lucky there. Let's record that. 1, 2, 3, 4. At the end, I didn't know which notes to play. I just kind of freestyled it. So that's pretty cool sound. I still think I could add something from my Prophet 6. I feel like this could stutter a little bit more too. going to try one thing that may be overkill. Let's add another gross beat here, but we're going to do like a 4th or 8th timing. So it goes like that. Let's go to the section here. Maybe I'll do that for like a certain area of the beat. Let's right click, create an automation clip on the mix level. Over time, we're going to turn this on. Let's turn it down to 0 in the beginning, and maybe at the end here or like over here somewhere, we're going to right click, turn it on. 100% is on, 0% is off. Highlight all the notes, hit Control B to latch paste. I'm going to go through my keyboard to see if I can find some dope sounds. Also, one thing too, sorry, gross beat, make sure you go to trigger sync 4 beats by 4 beats. That way it won't go off sync when you hit stop and go like that. Let's see what we can get from the Prophet 6. Kind of lead. I'm just gonna do that a couple times. Dun, 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 dun. Let's record that, but just with different sounds. Gonna add like time effects to these sounds. Firstly, I just want to record these sounds. Again, this is beyond the scope of FL, but I'm recording a hardware synth into FL. It just has the sounds, you know, that are more, you could stack these easily. Changing all the tresillo into tre dom dom. I'm changing the tresillo bounce a little bit, just offsetting the middle note. Adding little catchy ending notes, little ghost notes. Also, I'm going to try one thing here. Let's try this. It may or may not work, but in my brain, it's for some reason I'm hearing triplet notes. To do this, let's go to the snap to grid, 1/3 beat. Let's hit Alt, restore the velocity, and let's just hit Control L, drag that back, and then hit Control B to latch paste. This may or may not work. I'm kind of hearing a triplet bounce. All right, so. Now, rarely do I do triplet bounces, but let me do this. Let me clone this pattern here, so that in the case that I ever go back. Now, because I made everything else triplets, I need to do triplet hi-hat rolls and triplet glitches here. So let's make this more like this. It's hard to make this triplet. Let's hit Control Q to quantize to the triplet grid. I might leave the quarter note slides normal. This creates a little more bounce for this track. Let's try this. If it gets in the way, we'll just go back to pattern 4 and then switch it back. Now we need to kind of smash the background synths. There's no like magical formula for this. We're just going to group some of the background sounds. You could include the arpeggio here, but I probably would stay away from the arp. Let's mute the arp for a second. Couple plugins to squash melody is OTT. This is a really good one. It just kind of pulls the EDM sound out of stuff. And there's another one called Hyper Chorus, which is more of a Travis Scott sound. Depends on like the vibe though. That does not always solve all. Because see, if I route the arpeggio here, it sounds weird. It just sounds noisy. So that might not be the formula for this one. OTT is more for like darker plucky sounds that need more elongation. This melody just doesn't. Sounds already where they need to be. Now an automated filter might be good on this, like Shaper Box. I think Love Filter has an automated filter. But because I don't have like a go-to automated filter sound, I'm going to stick with Gross Beat for now. But I would like to have an automated filter on this type of sound. I just realized the triplet hi-hats. Never mind. It's going to be too much because what it's doing is it's causing a clash with our arpeggio. That's going to be the core fundamental clash. So never mind. That's not going to work. Worth a try though. Alright, so I got to figure out which notes. This is why I go to control, note repeat. Every third one I usually add a glitch. Note repeat's not, I don't hear a sound. Okay, now I hear it. Oh, maybe it's the note. Note's not long enough here. We need to make these notes longer. Let's hit Alt L. How are we gonna do this actually? Let me think. I don't know why this note won't stretch. It's kind of weird. So I gotta manually stretch these notes hitting Alt, left click on the edge. So you guys can see how much back and forth work this is. It's not like a set, just do this, this every single time. Okay, so I'm gonna switch it up a little bit over time, just taking out some of the detailed layer sounds, maybe taking out the bow every single time. See if we can add some pitch bend notes in here. We could do it in the harmony, but that might go crazy with that arpeggio I forgot we had. Taking away some of the widening on that bass, but I'll leave it there for you guys. Now it's about matching these rhythms up. I'm going to change out the gross beat. Move these notes a little to the right to create a syncopated sound. Syncopated just means on the ands, like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So to do that, I'll just grab this, change the snap to grid to like a beat, and move this, actually maybe a half beat. Let's just hear it through gross beat. Yeah, it needs to be a half beat actually. Let's go to half beat. Grab this over 1. Now it should be like 1 and 2 and. Actually, what am I saying? I forgot. Never mind. We have to do this programmatically in grow speed. I forgot. So I wish there was a quick way to time shift. Maybe there is. Let's do just slide remaining points. What I need to do though is move all this over just by a bar. It has to be a shortcut for this. I just don't know it. Notice those grow speed sounds are 1 and 2 and 3. It's on the ands. We could also add grow speed tape stop effect in here. To create automation for this, we need to, create a box in the area where we want the tape stop. So this lasts for 1 bar. I'm going to spread it out so it doesn't just repeat the entire way. I still want to find a sound that kind of sits on top of this beat. We got to tighten up these hi-hats and some of the 808s. So as you guys see, there's so many layers to the rhythm. Everything has to really match up with everything else. One small change can throw off everything. So let's make these hi-hats glitch less and try to organize the bass so it's not so much movement. Took away some of those Zaytoven style 808s. So I'm using the Zaytoven 808 as more of a buffer 808 than a full-on primary one. I think just switching the 808 makes it sound smoother and longer because the sample's longer. As you guys can see, it's a lot of rhythmic work. Not sure why this rhythm is off. Let's see if I can find any other kind of retro sounds to add to this. Now we're just adding accent top lines and accent layers here, like harmony accents, contrast layer accents, rhythm accents, using my synths. lot of material here. We need to just kind of narrow it down. Everything's trying to be everything right now. So we need to narrow down some of this material. We could keep adding layers and layers, but I think we've done the essential backbone. Alright, let's run this back. Now we could add a filter to the ARP just so it gets out the way over time. I might too change up the clap timing. All right, you guys will get the project files for free. Just go to busyworksbeats.com/FL Studio if you want to learn how to make beats like the pros. Go to busyworksbeats.com/premium. We have an end of the year sale called the Black Box Bundle, and we have 68 music production courses in there, 6 plugins I've created, and a bunch of sound packs for you guys. Just go to busyworksbeats.com/premium. Peace out, guys. Subscribe if you're new. Peace.